Hello you guys, today I come up with you about a new episode in the series about mysteries solved by Sherlock Holmes detectives. If you remembered, I have come up with you guys about two series about Sherlock Holmes written by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, and this is the second episode in the third series. This story starts with the how Dr. Watson met Sherlock Holmes. So at that time, Dr. Watson just returned to England after a very long time served in the soldier in the Afghanistan war. He had to return to England because of his injured, and at first because of his lackness of money, he had to find someone who can share the room with him. And fortunately, there was a man called Sherlock Holmes, an amateur detective who will have a quite big house and want someone to be his roommates. At first, Dr. Watson just think that maybe this is a quite normal man, but then he soon discovered that this man has a lot of talent, especially about the detective skills. At first, after knowing how Dr. Watson waved his hands, he soon knows that Dr. Watson just returned from the Afghanistan war. Also, after returning Holmes, Sherlock Holmes, without any questions, can soon knows that Dr. Watson just go to the post office, and that is the reason why Dr. Watson soon really admire Sherlock Holmes' talent and becomes one of the best Sherlock Holmes friends that he have ever made. The first mystery that Dr. Watson have chance to solve with Sherlock Holmes is quite interesting, I must say. It was about a murder of a man. The killer also left a letter on the wall called Rachel. At first, it seems to be quite unnormal, because there is not much man who can leave this world. And at first, the police thought that maybe that is the name of the killer, and he just don't have time to write the letter L, so it maybe means that Rachel, and maybe the killer is a woman named Rachel living in London. However, with his knowledge, Sherlock Holmes finally discovered that actually the Rachel is the word's revenge in Germany, and they have to stop the process of finding women named Rachel in London. Also, after a few steps of discovery, they soon catch the killer. But his backup story was quite sad. He was going to marry his wife about 2 or 3 weeks later, but then he was caught by an unknown reason, and by the father of the victim. However, when he go out, he just want to kill that man, so he have to travel a long way from India to England. And then when he finally arrived in London, he realized that that man have already died. So he tried to revenge on his daughter and son. So all the things that ends up in the murderer in London. So that this is quite special from all that mysteries that I have read, written by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. The reason is this is not only focused on the process of how Sherlock Holmes solved this mystery, but also about how Dr. Watson and Sherlock Holmes meet each other, about the stories behind the reason why the killer tried to make this murder and how he have to do this. And this is the things that I think this is the most interesting story that I have ever I've read about Sherlock Holmes mysteries. The reason is just as I mentioned, but also like in this story, like Dr. Watson have paid a lot of efforts, and it is just something that I have really admired in this doctor. And I am really fancy on reading Sherlock Holmes story, and it is actually one of the best story that I have read about it.